What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. NFL DFS video. We are breaking down Thursday Night Football between the Houston Texans and the New York Jets. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you some tips and tricks to make a better lineup, some plays that we like, some captain spots, MVPs we like, and then we're going to build a couple of lineups. So we're going to build on DraftKings and on FanDuel for everybody out there. So if you've never been here before, welcome to the channel. Hit that like button. We've got a lot going on. Go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, which you can see right here, right on the screen. We've got it all for you. So my question, everyone who's watching this, pause the video and tell me if you can guess who's going to win in the exact score for both teams. If you get that correct, and you've got to put a timestamp on it, I will see if it's edited. You cannot edit any comments. So if you put the correct score down below before the game starts, and do not edit the comment, and you get it correct, we're going to give away a free year. So comment down below. I can see when comments are edited, just so everybody knows. We've already had people try this before. So that is what we're going to do. Comment down below the exact final score and who you think's going to win, and good luck. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at some statistics from last year to this year. Then we're going to go into the games, look at any of the injuries that may impact the game. So from last year to this year, 84% of the winning lineups on DraftKings have had at least one quarterback in there. I think we probably need both in this one. Only 6% of the winning lineups use the entire $50,000 salary. So do not feel like you need to use all of your salary. 16% of the players or the winning lineups had a $200 player or less. So if we look at that, let me pause real quick. So if we look, on flex, $200 player or less will bring us to Davis and down, but there's not a ton that make any sense. You do have J.J. Taylor, who could maybe get in there a little bit, but that's it. Not a ton below here, unless, after this video, someone jumps up and is elevated and maybe plays. So we might not be looking at a $200 player tonight. 80% of the lineups that have been the winners have had at least a $4,000 player or less. So we're looking at Hutchinson and down from here. Mike Williams, if he decides to start catching balls. Ugumbawale makes a lot of sense. Xavier Gibson gets in there, has had a touchdown. He also obviously is on special teams. So, he would be a boomer bust $1,200 player. Average winning lineup had a salary of $47,500. And then stacking. Everyone always asks about stacking. The number one stack overall for the majority, 4-2 stack, has won at 44% of the time on DraftKings. 33% or 36% of the time it's been a 3-3 stack, and then only 21% of the time it's been a 5-1 stack. Then we look at the captain percentages. Now, I don't think this game is going to be as boom as we saw last Thursday night, but captain percentages. 39% of the time the winning team had a wide receiver as your captain. 28% of the time it was a running back. 17% of the time a quarterback. 7% of the time tight end. 7% of the time defense. And only 2% of the time a kicker. Now, the past few weeks we've actually seen kickers get 6+ field goals in a game. We could see that. That is definitely a thing to do. So that is a viable strategy when building lineups out there. So now, we look at current Vegas odds have the Jets as a 1.5 point favorite. An over-under of 42. So the over-under has stayed the same. The Jets started as a 2-point favorite. They are now a 1.5 point favorite. For whatever reason, I think it's probably mainly due to Houston losing Stephon Diggs. They don't have Nico Collins. Like, you can see, they don't have their wide receiver core. So it's obviously going to elevate and jump up. So Tank Dell is obviously that number one wide receiver right now. Lazard is out. Nico Collins is out. Zerline is out. Dameon Pierce is out. There are so many guys that are out. We're going to see some value pop up. I think we are going to be able to see that, and I think we are going to start building. So, being kind of a weird slate with, a lot of people out. With Dameon Pierce being out, obviously Joe Mixon is here, but Agumbawale makes a lot of sense too. I'm not going to use him as a captain spot, but let's build a few lineups here. So I think we're looking at Joe, and we can use our matchup tool. Now, our matchup tool is right here. It's free on the website. I'm going to use it to build lineups for Saturday when we break down the entire main slate. But I wanted to show everybody what it is. So if you look at the quarterback, you can see the Houston Texans ranked 21st against the opposing quarterback, giving up an average of 18 fantasy points per game. So Aaron Rodgers would obviously make sense. FanDuel at 17.7 and still 21. The Jets' defense against the quarterback, they rank 5th overall, only averaging 14.1. So you can see that would favor Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So let's move to the running back. Now, this chart is just these two teams, but if you want to see what I'm talking about, it's every team, all the stats they've given up in the opposing team. And this is for every single one. I've just filtered it down for this video. Looking at this, Houston Texans rank 6th. So we can, they rank 6th against the running back. So that bumps down a little bit to Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. The Jets rank 10th, giving up 21.5. So Joe Mixon's in a good spot. Agumbawale is in a good spot. Move to wide receiver. You can see the Jets are the number 1 defense against the opposing wide receivers. The lockdown secondary, with the 2 main guys being out, would spell disaster, or should spell disaster, for C.J. Stroud and whomever they have running. So Tank Dell, Mechie, I think. Let's see. Yeah, John Mechie. That's a boom or bust spot there. But you can see they're the number 1 defense on DraftKings against the wide receiver, and they're the number 3 on FanDuel. While you see the Texans are ranked 20th against the wide receiver, giving up an average of 34.2 on DraftKings and 29 on FanDuel. Then we move to the tight end. The Texans rank 2, so they're very good against the tight end. So maybe we aren't looking at Conklin. Maybe we aren't looking there. We're looking at wide receivers. The Jets are in the middle, 15th. They give up an average of 11.2, so Dalton Schultz makes a lot of sense as well. So that is the matchup tool. Those are the statistics. Let's build some lineups. So looking at ones that I want to look at right off the bat, Joe Mixon at the top. He's the most expensive, but there's just so many choices that we can build around. I think we get Aaron Rodgers in there. I think he finds Devontae Adams enough. And I think he still gets Garrett Wilson in there as well. So we're at 2,500. I think Agumbawale makes sense at 2,000. And now we're at 3,100. Some value that you got to find. Robert Woods, Mechie, either or. Now, again, they're very good against wide receiver. So this might not be the play. It might be a different direction. But this is a 3-3 stack with Houston. I'm probably going Bob Trees here in this one. So Mixon, Rodgers, Adams, Garrett Wilson, Agumbawale, and Robert Woods, Bob Trees, Robbie Trees, whatever you want to call them. I think that's a good first start for your captain spot there. Now, let's say Aaron Rodgers turns the clock back. Let's say quarterback, he's in there at the MVP or captain spot. So let's say we put him in there. Who's he throwing to? Devontae Adams and Mike Williams is what I'm looking at. Everyone's going to be on Garrett Wilson. Like, he's a cheap option. The reception, so you can see, against New England, nothing. It was not targeted. That's the scary part. Against Pittsburgh, only targeted twice. Against Buffalo, 3 times. Minnesota, 4. Denver, 5. Like, it's very up and down, and he has not done anything. But we are building a boomer bust lineup. You got to get a little bit different when you're building these type lineups. Also, in this video, if you want to comment down below, what are some of the builds that you're doing? Are there certain plays that we're not talking about that you think we should be talking about and building around? I would love to absolutely hear it. So, another one I'm going to go with is Tank Dell. Even though they are very good against the wide receiver, like, something's got to give. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton if the Jets somehow get up big on them. We can put Mechie in there as well. And then a flex option, 11,000. Obviously, we're putting Joe Mixon in there. So we've got 3-3 stack again with Aaron Rodgers being your captain/MVP spot, depending on what website you're on. Now, this could be a very low-scoring game as well. It could be just a dud where we are looking at kickers, and that could be it. So looking at that, it just depends on which kicker is going to be here, who's going to have success. That's what scares me a little bit. But let's say, for instance, we're building a lineup where the Jets are up big and the Texans have to just start kicking the ball, running the ball, throwing the ball because they are so far behind. So let's get Mixon in there, okay? Let's get Stroud because if he's playing from behind, he's going to have to throw it. Let's get Tank Dell in there, okay? Let's get Fairbairn in there as a kicker. We're at 4,500. Let's get the Jets defense because decent defense there. We're at 5,700. Now we're at Conklin, who Houston locks down tight end, so I don't really like that one. You don't really like Braylon Allen as well. You could go Hutchinson. Hasn't really done much. Again, I don't love tonight, but I wanted to build. So this is a 5-1 stack with the Texans being the 5 stack. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Let's build a 4-2 stack with the Jets now for the final one. So I like Breece Hall. Even though Houston's really good, Breece Hall they could get down to the 1. He could bulldoze his way in there. That's always an option. Let's get Garrett Wilson. Let's get Aaron Rodgers. And then let's get the Jets defense because I think this could be a Jets. This could be an ugly game where it's not fun at all. Let's get Fairbairn in there. And then we're at 7,200. Dalton Schultz because could be in store for a good game against a Jets defense that do give up fantasy points to the tight end. So we've got Hall being the running back. We've got Wilson, Rodgers, Jets defense. And then the 2 Houston is Fairbairn and Dalton Schultz in that order. Now, we can look at building a FanDuel lineup now. So I forgot to mention, if you have not already checked out, all of our rankings for Week 9 are live on the website. I will put the links to all the articles in this video down below in the description, along with you can follow along with our Discord. It's a completely free Discord, and get in there if you have not already gotten in there. So it's a little bit different. We are missing one spot on FanDuel, one less player to put in a lineup, so it changes the entire dynamic of the stacking and how to go about it. I don't like playing on FanDuel. I know some people do. I used to be FanDuel only, FanDuel, but I have moved everything over to DraftKings. That's why the majority of the stuff is on DraftKings, but I still wanted to give you guys this information for both websites. So here we are building on FanDuel. I don't think it's going to be a hugely different idea, but Joe Mixon at MVP makes sense. Aaron Rodgers makes sense. Aaron Rodgers has to throw to somebody, correct? It's going to be his number 1 dude, who in fact is Devontae Adams, who is cheaper than Garrett Wilson by $3,000, which is still wild to me. I still think we get Tank Dell in there, and then I do like Dalton Schultz as my tight end there. So that's going to be one lineup that I go with: Joe Mixon, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz. Now we can build another one and go through and try maybe a different way to go about it. Haven't done this way on FanDuel much, but a 4-1 stack here. I think Breece Hall, even though I don't like the matchup as much, you got to get a little bit different here. I think Joe Mixon makes his way in there. I think Rodgers makes his way in there. I think the Jets defense make their way in there. And then that leaves us at 7,500 for either Conklin, Mechie, Mike Williams, Robert Woods, Ogunbowale. Now, I personally am going to go with Ogunbowale because I think it's going to be a cheaper option. Again, you do not need to use all of your salary. So we've left $1,000 on the table, and a lot of people don't like to do that. But again, the winning lineups, the majority of them do not use the entire salary. So that is definitely a way to go about it. If you want to look at the possibility of going with another kicker in this situation. Oh, back. Get out. Use that. There we go. Back up here. We'll do another lineup. I don't play on FanDuel, as you can see. I don't even know how many points I have. I think we could go a different direction too. So let's try to build a lineup with our MVP being Mixon. And then I want to get Fairbairn in there. And then another Texan, I want to get Schultz. So then we're at 2. We've got 13-5 the rest of the way. So Aaron Rodgers at 13 now. We've got 13-5 here. Is he going to throw to Garrett Wilson? I think he is. I'm going to take Garrett Wilson in that situation. We've used all the salary in this one. You do not have to, because if you take Garrett Wilson out of there, you go down to Tank Dell, but we don't have C.J. Stroud in there. You got Devontae Adams. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be Devontae Adams. I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson in this play right here. Now, let's do one with the intention and thinking that maybe they're playing from behind. They've got to throw the ball up a ton. What are we looking at for C.J. Stroud? So get C.J. Stroud in here. I'm going to put Joe Mixon here. He can dump off passes. He can also run it. I'm going to get Stroud in there. And the third one, I am going to get Dalton Schultz. So those are my Texans. Now I've got to get 2 here. I think Aaron Rodgers makes sense. And now we are left with 7,500. If you think it makes sense for Conklin, which I don't know if it does, if you look at his game logs, past 2 games have been good, but the defenses have been really bad that they've gone against. When he's gone up against a good defense, 2. You can see his defenses that he's gone against have been terrible. Mike Williams, again, he hasn't done much. Hasn't done much at all. Robert Woods is on the other team. Jeremy Ruckert. Now, Ruckert, game log wise, not much either out of Ruckert. You got Xavier Gibson, who on FanDuel pricing hasn't done anything, had a touchdown, 1 reception for 1 yard last week, but that is it. That is pretty much it. So I most likely am going to go Conklin and use the entire salary with this one in this stack where we see a 3 Houston stack along with a 2 New York Jets stack. So that is the build for Thursday Night Football. If you want to see anything else, if you want to see some of the bets that we like for Thursday Night Football, I will be tweeting those out and I'll be putting them into our Discord channel. So if you have not checked out the Discord, make sure you check it out with the link down below. That is where I will give out some bets that we really like. Yesterday's NBA lineup put up 370 that we built on stream. So get into it. If you have not already checked out the NBA video for Thursday, I will link that right here at the end. We will do everything there. If you're new to the channel and have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Go check out the NBA video if you want a chance at 2 giveaways for today. That's what I've got in this video. Good luck. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.